Welcome to Salsidoparanormal. I'm your host, James Salsido. This is episode 643, and tonight I am continuing my review of Orpheus, Mythos of the World by Padraic. As always, you can find all episodes of the show along with links to social media and other ways to contact me at the podcast page. And that is salsidoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions or accounts of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. Thank you all for listening, whether you are here for the live streams on Discord, or if you listen to the podcast or YouTube feeds, or on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP, Digital Broadcasting. There you can hear replays of 2 episodes of my show every night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right before Troubled Minds Radio comes on. I had to pause there for a second, make sure I had my times right, because time zones, not always the easiest to remember. I always want to thank Michael Strange, host of Troubled Minds Radio, for having me on the network and putting all my shows up there. If you'd like to support my show, there are some different ways to do that. You can always share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. You can find books I've written, paranormal fiction and nonfiction, including my most recent book that is also connected to the podcast, Salsidoparanormal Experiences, over on Amazon. And you can also sign up for the Patreon page where you will get extra episodes of the show whenever possible. I'll be making an announcement about that and the regular schedule here in a minute or so, but we'll get to that when we get there. You can also just make one-time donations through PayPal. Support is never expected, but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows, from equipment to research materials to travel expenses in some cases. And I think that takes care of everything for now. With all that, the announcement I want to make is after this week, I will record what has been the usual 8 shows per week, 6 of the regular and 2 of the Patreon. This will be the last week of me recording that many. I'm going to cut down to 5 regular shows and 1 Patreon starting next week. So some weeks I was able to get all the material ready for all 8 shows without a problem. Other weeks, not so much. Other weeks it was a rush, or I had to sort of improvise and do other things, and I'd rather have a consistent, regular schedule of shows that I have plenty of time to research, and so that's the plan for starting next week. But so it'll be 5 regular shows and 1 Patreon show, and I might put out a couple of other Twilight Zone episodes between now and then as well, just to get the numbers to where I want them as far as the episode numbering. But anyway, that's just the thought that went through my mind. I probably didn't need to say that on the show. Anyway, but yeah, thank you all for your support and understanding. And it's just life things in general. And also my writing, I'd like to continue with that and hopefully make a sequel to this book I just put out as well. So, but it's kind of hard to do all that when also trying to do that many shows and do all the research for those shows. So, with that, I can get into this episode's material here. We are continuing our review, like I said at the beginning of the show here, of this book on mythology. And this is just one book with selected mythology, so we will come back to this, and I'll find other books to review on this subject, because I think it's something that I don't think ever, it does get old technically, but never gets old to me, finding all these accounts of all these stories that have come across through time to today, and discussing their possible connections to the paranormal today as well. So let me get to the document here, and we will start. Thank you all for being here. I see you there in the chat, and glad to have you all here. And and I'm also going to I forgot to mention the other part. I will only be recording 1 night a week starting next week. It'll be Fridays, and but again, that's just I can talk more about that to you all in the Discord, because that's where the only place where that really matter overall. So I already put up an announcement about it in the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, please do that. That's where all major announcements and even just any kind of notices are put, usually before anywhere else. And that's also where everyone that listens to the podcast that is on Discord can hang out and talk about things related to that as well. So again, we are continuing our review of this book, Orpheus, Mythos of the World. And we are on let me see here. We're on New Zealand? Let me see here. Maybe not New Zealand. I'm not sure. We'll see here. But this next section here is Maui, I believe it might be called. I'm not sure. The Firebringer. Maui's early life. Born to Hina, Maui was left in the sea, saved by a jellyfish, and raised by the god of the sea. Oh, and also I always forget to do this. These summaries, or these, what I'm reading here is a summary of the material that is made by AI that I then use on these shows, and I read these summaries, and then we talk about them as I go. So just a note on that as well. Returned to his mother's land, unrecognized, he demonstrated his strength and was accepted by his family. Maui made the unseen birds visible to men, delighting them with their colors and music. The quest for fire. Hina's people lacked fire, eating raw food and suffering cold. I've heard of this in other myths as well. So that's amazing that is a similar thing. Also, I apologize for any noises you're hearing. Once again, Logan, my cat, has become active right in the middle of a stream. So, recording. Anyway, in another tale, Maui went to the lower world and retrieved fire from his great-great-grandmother, Mahuia's nails, but kept losing it in streams. Angered, Mahuia hid fire in tree barks after a final incident. Maui tricked the LA birds, A-L-E, who had fire, by pretending to go fishing. He captured the old LA, forcing her to reveal the true source of fire, which was a certain kind of tree. How tree? H-A-U tree. And sandalwood tree bark. So that's amazing if you think about that, because what do you use to make fire so often? You use the wood from trees. And then friction and all those things. I'm not a scientist, and I've never made fire, so I can't say for sure, but that is one source of fire. Maui showed men how to make fire, ending their need to eat raw food. Legacy of the birds. So these are all just sort of subsections or sub-stories in the larger story. Maui marked the LA bird's head with fire, resulting in the red streak seen today. So here you have descriptions of how things that people have seen throughout time, why they happened and how they happened. And this next section is how Maui strove to win immortality for all creatures. Maui's achievements and challenge. He boasts of his achievements, winning fire for men, slowing the sun, and fishing up islands. So I guess they mean as in bring islands up to the surface, which would be an amazing thing to see if you think about that, and something that would happen. Whether it's islands rising, if I can talk, rising up out of the sea or falling into it. That can happen with rising or falling sea levels. His father warns him about great Hina of the night, the goblin goddess who brings death to all creatures. The next section is Maui's plan to defeat death. Maui resolves to defeat the goblin goddess and end her power of bringing death. His father refuses to join him, so Maui gathers little birds to accompany him. Robins, lesser robins, thrush, yellow hammer, that's quite the name for a bird, and water wagtail. So I guess maybe these are all individual birds. Journey to the goblin goddess. Maui and the birds travel to the horizon where the sky and the earth meet, and they see the flashing teeth of the goblin goddess. The goblin goddess has volcanic glass teeth, a wide mouth like a fish, seaweed-like hair, and shining eyes. Maui's fear and resolve. Maui is initially afraid, but remembers his promise to gain everlasting life for all creatures. He plans to enter the sleeping goblin goddess, take out her heart, and give it to the creatures of the earth. Maui instructs the birds not to laugh or make a sound while he is inside the goblin goddess. And again, keep in mind, a lot of this is it's stories. It's fantastical in different ways, including beings going in and out of our other larger beings. And it seems like in a lot of cases, these are meant to represent parts of the planet or the planet itself or the sky above the planet, all these different things. So keep that in mind with all these myths here. The birds promise to stay silent, but express concern for his safety. Maui prepares by basically taking off his clothes, which is something that does happen in mythology here, revealing his tattooed skin. He enters the goblin goddess's mouth. Wow, having a hard time tonight. Passes her sharp teeth and reaches her stomach. Maui seizes her heart and begins to return. The water wagtail, Tiwaka, Ti-Waka-Waka, laughs despite trying not to, awakening the goblin goddess. She catches Maui in her teeth and basically kills him, causing darkness and the crying of the birds. Maui dies with the meat of immortality in his hands, and no one dares approach the goblin goddess lair ever since. So that's the end of that one. And looks like now we are on to Hawaii at this next section here. I think I've heard this one before, this particular story before. If not, which would be even more amazing, is I may have heard a similar one, a similar story, similar myth. And but I think it's that one. I did listen to a book on mythology a while ago, but it's been a while, and it was a long book. So, and that's part of why I'm doing reviewing these books here, but not worrying about covering every myth, because I don't think, first of all, anyone can, and second of all, it's already been done in a lot of ways. So, but yeah, the immortality thing, that's now some of these myths that you see from around the world, the main characters, they get the ability, they get the immortality, but it's usually just for themselves. And this one, that doesn't happen for anyone. So, let me see here. Excuse me, yeah, we have time for at least one more section here. Excuse me. Also, you have the volcanic teeth. I mean, we know that in that part of the world there are volcanoes, so I wonder if that was sort of they were talking about volcanoes around that time, and sort of giving them life in that way by describing them as a deity. So, also apologies for the sound. Nights have become a little bit cooler here in Michigan, and so I have to have my heater on at times. Anyway, moving on to back to the document here. Pele, Hawaii's goddess of volcanic fire. So again, you have volcanoes. Pele, the goddess emerges from Kilauea, Ki-Lau-EA pit as a beautiful woman, accompanied by her many sisters. She decides to visit the beach at Puna, P-U-N-A, to bathe, feast, and enjoy herself with her sisters. Pele instructs her sister, Hayaka of the fire bloom, to let her sleep undisturbed, with a death threat for anyone who wakes her prematurely, except Hayaka of the Blossom of Pele. So you have different sisters here. So Bloom and then Blossom of Pele. So Hayaka, enchanted by Ewa, Iehua groves, befriends the tree spirit Hope, Hopoe. I keep forgetting to put all these names through translation, so I apologize for that. Pele's spirit follows the sound of a drum to the island of Kauai, Kauai, where she meets Prince Lohiau, Lo-Hi-Au, at a hula performance. So yeah, I apologize for all the mispronunciations here. So Pele promises the prince he will possess her when she brings him to Hawaii, then leaves. Distraught, he dies. His body is found and mourned by his people. Pele remains in a deep sleep for days. So I wonder if that other thing happened at a different time, the other story there, or an even more amazing idea here, if that was in any kind of chronological order, was that something that she did while she was asleep? Sort of out of body experience kind of thing. Pele remains in a deep sleep for days, and her sisters fearfully summon Hayaka to wake her. Hayaka performs a chant that brings Pele back to life. So Pele tasks Hayaka with bringing the prince from Kenoi to Hawaii, promising she will have him after 5 days, provided she does not touch him before the tapu is lifted. Tapu, not sure. Hayaka asks Pele to spare her friend, the prince, and the tree groves from destruction. Hayaka and her companion face many dangers to retrieve the prince. Upon reaching Kauai, they find the prince had died. Hayaka uses her mana, energy, I believe, and or food in some cultures, to restore him to life. On the return, Pele breaks her promise and destroys the tree groves, killing the prince. So Hayaka, in grief and defiance, openly shows affection. Oh wait, I messed it up. There was a different character, not the prince that died. It was the companion. Openly shows affection to the prince. Pele orders her sisters to destroy the prince, but they make only a pretense. In other words, they don't really try. They pretend to, or they just go through the motions of attempting to kill him or destroy him. Pele's helpers reluctantly comply, and the prince is consumed by the lava, the lava flow. So here you have these deities, again, similar to other parts of the world, where sometimes they act very much like they act very much as moral beings that have the best intentions for people in general and all beings in general. And other times you have them acting in very human-like ways, it seems. Pele orders her... I read that. Let me see here. Okay. Hayaka contemplates destroying the islands out of grief, but is soothed by Ka-Ne, the Earth Shaper. A sorcerer friend of the prince confirms Hayaka's faithfulness, and Pele's rage softens. Pele's brother, Kane Milo Hai, Kane-Milo-Hai, restores the prince to life using his power. Hayaka finds the prince alive and wandering through the rejuvenated land, signifying a new world emerging from the destruction. So that's the end of the Hawaiian section there, which is really amazing because you have, again, this idea of destruction and regeneration, again, in so many other myths as well, and just stories around the world. So yeah, that's going to be it for this episode here. I will just let everyone know here what's coming next time. We are on Peruvian mythology. And the first section here is Viracocha, the llama herder, and the Virgin of the Sun. Let me see here. I think it might be the only section. Oh, no, there's a couple sections here. Viracocha is its own section. But those other ones were other sections within the Peruvian myth section here. So yeah, that's what's coming up next time. Thank you all for being here and listening. And I've been thinking after we finish this book, reviewing this book, I'm going to go back to my list of Stephen King books that I've read and review some of those again. Get through some of those that I've read and just sort of finish up my review of what I have read of Stephen King's library of books. I haven't read all of them by any means, just because I've never got around to them all, and also because there's a couple I tried and I didn't care for. So, but yeah, I'm thinking for a little bit of a change and something a little bit easier to do as well. I will, after we finish this reviewing this book, Orpheus, Mythos of the World, I will go back to reviewing some Stephen King for a bit. And so, yeah, that's the plan there for that. And again, next week there will be 5 regular episodes. And I haven't decided the format for that yet as far as how many episodes of each different type of show that I do. I'll be recording, but we will figure it out when we get there. So thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all next time on Salsidoparanormal. Take care.